Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dimitri and this is MG Owners Australia. I'm excited to present to you my review of Kia Seltos versus MG ZST, the one that I'm currently sitting in, the one that we've owned now for quite a few months and have been very happy with. So I'd like to tell new buyers from a private owner's perspective, I don't get paid for the brands. I don't pretend to be an expert. I'm just a guy who owned two MG cars for quite a few months now as a private owner, paid cash for both of them, sold one of them because it was not big enough, MGHS, and bought LDV D90, which I'm very happy with. But this baby, this one, MG ZST, we're still holding on to as it's a great little car, packed with features, packed with different things that otherwise are out of financial usually reach for people kind of shopping for a small SUV or a car in this price segment in Australia at the very least, yeah? So today, unpretentiously, I would like to offer you my thoughts. As a private owner, I walked into a dealership, I sat in a Kia Seltos, I took a look at the specs online, I did what a normal average Joe or Jane would probably do. One thing that I haven't done, and let's address it straight away before people start slamming me for that. I have not done a test drive in Kia Seltos, and yes, test drive is critical, very important before finalizing your decision as to buy the car or not. However, think about it this way, and please bear with me. It's kind of like you go and look at the menu at a restaurant and what the dishes are presented as. For example, they are on display, let's say. Let's pretend that we are in that kind of environment. So before ordering a dish and eating it, you could already take a look at this dish, take a look at that dish next to a restaurant next to it, just similar to this one, and decide that, nah, that one kind of looks better. I'm not even going to bother trying this dish. Do you know where I'm going with this? Let's get the obvious out of the way. I'm actually a supporter and a big fan of Kia as a brand. I think that they produce really good cars. And without, again, digressing too far, let's just address the elephant in the room. Chinese cars in Australia, like this China-owned old British motor brand such as MG or LDV, which is labeled LDV here, but it's again a British motor brand, sub-brand. These cars, the Chinese cars, are right now in Australia regarded poorly, relatively poorly, let's just call it for what it is, and they are experiencing what Korean cars such as Hyundai, such as Kia, what they have experienced some 7 to 10 years ago when Koreans were entering the market and they were competing with Toyotas and Hondas of the world. So back then, people were like, oh, what's that? Oh, I don't know what that is. And look at them now. Look at Kia now. Look at Hyundai now. Look how well they have done because they offered people a lot higher value for money compared to what European cars, what homegrown even Australian car brands, and what Japanese cars did back then. So this is what's happening with Chinese cars right now in Australia. I'm a firm believer and a convert. You can call me a convert, but beyond that, I have absolutely, like I said, no affiliation with any of these brands. No one pays me. Okay? If you want to pay me, you know how to find me. All right. So, Kia Seltos. I kind of like it. I kind of like Kia Seltos, and I looked on the website first before going to the dealership, and in all honesty, unapologetically again, I stopped doing more disclaimers. Now I'll just call it for what it is. I think that Kia Seltos looks much better online in those promo materials on that website that I look at, where you can take a look at the specs, turn the car with all this 360 view. I think that the website gives Kia Seltos more justice than the actual reality, in all honesty. That is my subjective opinion. I liked it more online than I liked it at a dealership after spending good, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes walking around the car, sitting in it, trying all the finishes. I did all of that kind of stuff. The only thing I haven't done is I haven't test driven it because I wasn't convinced enough that further investment of my time would have changed my mind dramatically about Seltos. That's why. The boot. So the boot in Seltos is fairly small. At least it produces a small impression. It really is not big enough. Simple as that. Boot in ZST is, at least again, produces an impression of being a lot more practical and massive. The only thing that it doesn't have compared to Seltos's boot is that Seltos's boot is offering you a flat surface straight away as you open it in case you need to slide something in and leave it there, while ZST boot is kind of offering you this little cavern, and in that cavern you can fit in a lot more stuff. Guaranteed, pretty much guaranteed, right? But at the same time, you don't have flat surface. If this is a decision maker for you, well, take it for what you will. But I prefer ZST boot. And on each other parameter that I'm going to be discussing, I will tell you which one I prefer, by the way. Okay? The looks, we sort of deviated. I wanted to start with the looks, but I'll get back to it. The looks are subjective. You can tell me, Dimitri, you have no idea, mate. Seltos is amazing and was designed by designer. I don't care. I don't care. I care about what I like. And in all honesty, I still like the unapologetic, slightly more modern, edgy, shark-like looks of ZST. I think ZST looks fantastic. That is what I think. Seltos, my apologies, Seltos looks really boring. It looks really boring. The most boring part is the back. I just cannot get over something subtle in the simplicity and boxiness and 1980s feel of Seltos's design. It's too boxy, yet not boxy enough. It's not a Jeep. It's not giving me Jeep vibes where it's like, oh, I'm just rugged and boxy. No, it's not that good. Well, good, that would be a good thing, right? But it's something else. It's just, nah. It's just no. It's a no from me, okay? So, on the looks, hands down, this MG ZST wins hands down, at least in my book. You let me know in the comments down below what you think. There is no right and wrong. These are tastes. These are tastes. You like blue, I like black. Somebody likes orange, right? Cool, all right. So engine, I'll very quickly mention engine still. I know I haven't taken Seltos for the drive, which is why I'm being honest with you, but I did take a look at just specifications. And while on paper, Seltos has 2-liter engine as opposed to this ZST Essence top-of-the-range model that has only 1.3-liter engine, you can take a look here briefly at the specs on the screen if you want, or I'm sure if you are seriously considering to buy the car, you would do your proper thorough research. At least that's what I recommend. But to me, in terms of the RPMs and in terms of kilowatts of power and in terms of those specifications, both cars look very comparable. I would say that that's a draw. Let's just call it a draw there on performance. Yeah. Simply because I'm very pleased with city performance of this car, of MG ZST. Yeah, it has its electronic glitches and stuff that we discussed in the other videos. If you're serious into considering MG ZST, take a look at those videos. Why would I repeat myself? Seltos, I don't know, not an expert. From specifications, looks the same, and I'm very happy with ZST. So here, in all honesty, as a private owner who doesn't owe anything to anyone, I am going to say I'm being generous for giving Seltos a draw here. Because I could have said that ZST won on this, because I'm happy with how it performs. And if you get within that price category exactly the same performance, I think you haven't gone wrong with Seltos either. So let's say that on engine specs, I'm gonna say they are equal. We are not splitting hairs here once again. That is just my honest opinion. Now, electronics, infotainment, connectivity, other kind of stuff. You know my story with ZST, and I have not test-driven Seltos, so in this particular case, similar to what I'm trying to be honest with you, I'm just gonna assume that Kia Seltos is better. I'm just blindly going to give a victory here on this item to Seltos. So if connectivity, maturity of the electronics of the systems, whatever is in it, I simply think that Seltos would be better. There is no chance that Kia has put such rubbish electronic systems as we have here in MG ZST. I think we deserve better with MG ZST. They desperately need to improve this. Desperately, MG, if you can hear me. And I just simply assume, and being honest here, I'll swing for the fences and say Seltos, without driving it, without turning on the engine, I'm going to give it to Seltos and assume electronics is better there, in my humble opinion, right? Okay, cool. So, what else? The back seats. Let's talk about the back seats, how the back seats feel. To be honest with you, both cars are comparable in my opinion. I think I am not a super tall dude. I'm about 175 centimeters tall. So, for me, I can sit very comfortably in both cars at the back. But other than just headspace, so headspace is fine. And plus, don't forget that this car is top of the range Essence. So here the ceiling, the roof, seems a little lower simply because of the panoramic sunroof. Panoramic sunroof always, because of all the mechanics and it needing to fit in and all that kind of stuff, it always is a bit lower, you know, so it's a little bit lower. So in that sense, it's a little bit, I suppose, constraining here, but it doesn't bother me. So I'm actually fine. In Seltos, felt fine as well. It's boxy enough. At the back, I said fine. Where the difference is, I think, and maybe subtle difference, again, I would not buy one car over another just because of that, but it adds to the picture. I didn't like the quality and finish of seats in Seltos. I just did not. Yes, this is vinyl, this is not real leather, but the stitching, the quality, how the seat feels, and I know I'm talking about back seats right now, I will talk about front seats in a second, bear with me. But I sat in 2 models of Seltos. I even bothered to try both. I sat in the base model, in the one that actually fits into the same price category in the discounted currently state at the dealer that I found that grey car. It was around 33,000, which already is 1,000 more than what I paid for this. And it's not top of the range. That grey one did not have sunroof. That grey one probably doesn't have a whole bunch of safety features, but I'm not even going there. Okay, so that's me already alluding towards the price value for the price. So I did not like the clothy, simplistic, kind of too simplistic. I think Kia could have given us more for this kind of money in Seltos, in that base, whatever that model of Seltos was. Now, the GT line of Seltos, $45,000, all-wheel drive. Sure, it's all-wheel drive. Fair enough. What are you going to be going through Sahara Desert in that car? Or what are you, in Soviet Russia somewhere there going through the snow right now in your sturdy little Seltos? Surely you're not buying the car for those purposes, so why? So the back seats in ZST, they are both more comfortable to me personally, as well as there are also 2 USB ports. Maybe that's a difference between the models of the car, but regardless of whether or not we're looking at the GT line of the, you know, much higher price range, $10,000+ difference of the price range of Kia Seltos, and this ZST that gives it to you just, well, let's call it for free. Me, right now, looking at this car, I'm saying that I'm getting a lot more from the backseat experience as a potential passenger from this MG ZST compared to what Seltos is offering us, especially in that same price category. Now, as far as the driver's position is concerned, I already started talking about it. Seats, let's just address that. These are vinyl seats. They're not very, very good in terms of that because it's not real leather. In my MG HS, by the way, I had real leather. Here, it's not real leather. The quality of stitching, the quality of this stuff feeling sturdy and not particularly, you know, susceptible to any scratches or any particular other kind of stuff, that's fine. But the seats do get really, really hot. They do get really hot in the hot weather, and that is not super awesome. So sometimes I'm thinking that at least partially cloth seats, like in my LDV G90 that's parked just over there, they actually work better in that sense. They are not as hot. They're not as hot, and I feel like my back actually can breathe a little bit more. But that's me talking more about the quality of the seats. Maybe Seltos is more competitive in that sense, but again, I haven't spent enough time in the car to make kind of final judgment on this. But overall, the structure, the seat, how my spine feels in it, how I feel, how I sit in this seat, and how the sides here are holding me in a little bit, I vastly, much prefer the seating, the driver position in MG ZST to Seltos. I think that the panels here, the reachability of the panels and instruments panel and the infotainment system in Seltos is probably just as good as in MG ZST. They also have a nice, comfortable here little panel where you can throw your phone. They have this little kind of, I don't even know if it's necessary, little handle or it's part of the design here on the left of this frontal panel. It seems functional. It seems okay. It also, I would dare say, seems basic. Maybe it's just the finishes. Maybe it's this slightly softer to touch, little clothy looking, but they're not actually here in this central panel. They're plastic finishes of MG ZST, where optically MG ZST wins for me in this central panel area. But I think Seltos is functional. It's functional. If I had to judge here versus car from a completely different category, my MG HS, the one I don't have anymore, the more expensive one that had leather and everything else. It had a lot more bells and a lot more whistles, but its panel here, the driver's panel where the gear shifter is, where the buttons are, where that little space for the phone is, it wasn't as functional as ZST or maybe even as Kia Seltos. So in that regard, again, if we had to compare the panels in Seltos versus ZST, I'd say it's probably even, probably about roughly even Steven. And again, we're not particularly, you know, splitting hairs here. Final thing I'm going to say is the steering wheel. Steering wheel, I've gotten used to the nice perforated leather of steering wheel in ZST. It was the same, very similar or the same, I think it was the same in my MG HS Essence. It's leather, it feels great, stitching is great, the car looks sporty, it just gives it this nice feel, and I really like it. Seltos has also what appears to be a leather steering wheel. I don't know, again, we're not splitting hairs. I don't know if it's real leather or faux leather, like, you know, vinyl of sorts. It's fine, but in all honesty, again, it didn't cause any emotional response in me. So when I sat in MG ZST before we bought it, or MG HS, speaking of steering wheel specifically, I touched it and I was like, yeah, awesome, great, like it. I didn't get that feeling. I just didn't get that feeling in Seltos. I simply didn't. You know, it's okay. It's okay. It's better than plastic, bare bones plastic steering wheel I got in my LDV, and that's why I had to buy a special sort of cover, the steering wheel cover, which I, by the way, am very happy with. So I think I solved my problem, paying 16 Australian dollars to solve that problem. So no problem. But in this particular case, the steering wheels are leather in both cars. They are okay. They are not too bad, you know? And that's probably all that I can realistically judge from not having driven or owned Kia Seltos, looking at it online, looking at it in person, walking around both the GT line, which is grossly overpriced in my opinion, unless you value all-wheel drive capability so much. But here in MG ZST, more than $10,000 cheaper than GT line of Kia Seltos, you're getting, other than all-wheel drive capability, you're getting every bell and whistle, including 360-degree camera. I don't even know if Seltos has 360-degree camera. Not that, again, this is probably a decision-making point, but it's something that, again, tells you just how much our Chinese friends have packed into this car for this value for money. Once again, my channel is MG Owners Australia, but I hope you understand if you have been following me for a while, and if you haven't, this is your chance to join the club. We're very friendly people. I hope you understand that while it's MG Owners Australia, it's not my goal to bag other brands and only praise MG. I hammered MG plenty of times, and people who have been with me or who spent more than 5 minutes on this channel and checked other videos, they know. I've hammered them deservingly, okay? But in this particular case, overall, price, looks, finishes inside, other things that matter to me in the city. We're talking city driving. We're not drag racers here. We're not splitting hairs on performance and stuff. I absolutely would go for MG. Absolutely. 7 years warranty on both cars as well. Something goes wrong, just you know, go talk to them about warranty. You should be all right, mate. You know, the only thing that I will mention finally as a wrap up, and just to be fair, is that the speakers appear to be more expensive and better in Seltos. Again, the car was not on. I wasn't blasting music there to just check the... And I'm also not one of those music gourmets, you know, people who it matters to the nth degree. Additionally to that, at least from the website, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the website says that they're using Bose, you know, brand speakers there, which is awesome, right? But it's, I think, if I'm not mistaken, those Bose, specifically Bose ones, they are available only in GT line $45,000 car. So that, even if that's the case, I'm sweating, even if that's the case, I think that that's way out of the price category of this, and suddenly it's not a very even-steven comparison there. I hope you found it useful, this video. Again, I think I was very upfront with you about what I cover, what I don't cover, what I can pass judgment on, very much so, and what I cannot pass judgment on. If it helps you choose your car, make a decision on selling your old one, upgrading to something else or whatever, please give me a like, subscribe for more similar videos. I will be talking about other cars specifically. I'm going to talk about the new Kia Sportage, which I also sat in and also had a look at, and I'm inevitably going to compare it to my beloved but now gone MG HS Essence top of the range. That's going to be a very different, well, very similarly formatted, but different impressions of a comparison, and I don't want to spoil it, but I really like Sportage. Sportage is all right. Talk to you soon, my friends. Thanks very much for tuning in today. If you haven't subscribed, now is your chance, and I'll talk to you next time. See you later. Bye for now.